Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana Everything and welcome back to the channel. And I just have to say guys, wow. I'd said in the previous recap video that the knockout stages at this World Cup have been next level, like they've really delivered. And of course the final was the mother of all of spectacularness. Honestly speaking, I don't think I've ever watched a game that was as hype as this. Okay, I've never seen a cup final that was as hyped as this one was. 3-3, of course, the final score after extra time, and extra time which had mad drama right at the death, both France and Argentina having some point blank opportunities to win this match. Colomwani and Lautaro Martinez failing to win it within that regulation period, and so ended up going to penalties. And as history would have it, Argentina, of course, that man once again, Dibu Martinez, stepping up for them in that penalty shootout and making the saves that we know he's very capable of. This is how these men won Copa America, right? They did it the hard way, and once again here in the World Cup final, they did it the hard way with no shortage of drama or of high quality performance from, all the people who we expected it from, Angel Di Maria, Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, Emi Martinez, everybody, all those big name guys, all those big reputation guys stepping up in this moment here. Of course, France will say that they would have wanted more from the likes of Griezmann, Giroud and Dembele, but at the end of the day, it is how it is. Kylian Mbappe becoming the first person since 1966 to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final, and unfortunately for him, he lost it as well. I just have to say, this tournament has really just been, in a way, kind of like history repeating itself, looking at how from the start Argentina of course lost their opening game but then went on to win the tournament, kind of like Spain did in 2010. And then of course we saw France losing on penalties once again like they did in 2006. We saw Argentina going 2-0 up in a World Cup final just like they did against West Germany and ending the game 2-2 and having to go to extra time. Of course this time they even went all the way to penalties. There was just so much repetition, Portugal getting knocked out as usual. Okay, on a serious note, there was so much history repeating itself, and this though was just like a different kind of climax that we got from this match. I just have to say, okay, hats off to you, Mr. Kylian Mbappe, because this match had no right going to penalties, okay? You, Mr. Mbappe, had no right to make us sit through an extra 30 minutes of extra time and then penalties, but that's exactly what he did. And of course this is the thing about Mbappe, he's not one of those guys who from minute one is going to maybe tear you apart, much like Messi these days of course, but he chooses his moments, and he chose his moments here today to great effect. I did think it was a bit sus, Argentina starting with 4 defenders. I mentioned this with the people I was watching the match with, I think Mbappe is going to have some joy at some point in this game because of that back 4, especially since you don't have someone like Lisandro Martinez there who can, at least try and keep up in a foot race. Anywho, Mbappe did what Mbappe does, but of course at the end of the day, this was all about that man, wasn't it? Now, for the most part, I have tried my best not to talk too much about Lionel Messi because it's hard to talk about Lionel Messi without sounding like a fanboy at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because he does so many things just right, just in an insane way that you end up fixating on that, and before you know it, it's been 10 minutes gone and you've been talking about Lionel Messi. But you know what? He finally did it. He finally got himself that one trophy that has eluded him, that one thing that people have in the past mocked him for, that people have in the past used as the stick to beat him down, comparing him to the likes of Maradona and Pele and everyone who's come before him, and they've always used that it doesn't have a World Cup, it doesn't have a World Cup. Well, now he has one, and he has one in large part, okay, because of the huge shift that he put in. I think this was the most clutch version of Messi I have seen since 2011, 2012 maybe. 2012, that season when he scored 91 goals and whatnot. This arguably was even a more clutch version of Messi than that, because he didn't miss the penalties this time around. 2012 he missed that semi-final penalty against Chelsea, right? Camp Nou. This time around, he was burying penalties, knockout rounds, whichever round. Like, sure, he missed one, but he came for it and he brought it. To be quite honest, like, what better way really to sign off on the international stage? He did say that this is most likely going to be his last international tournament. I can't think of a better way for someone in the game of his status to have signed off, especially, of course, after the performances that he's put in. The final was, of course, no exception. He didn't score a hat-trick like Mbappe did, but he did score a brace, and he did have a huge hand in that second goal as well that was scored by Angel Di Maria, who just looked like a man possessed. Honestly speaking, if he was fit enough to have finished this game, if he was fit enough to have played 90 minutes, I don't think France even have a chance of coming back in this one, to be quite honest, because he would have probably got another chance that he would have buried and just killed this match. So, like, hats off to Angel Di Maria as well. He's a man just made from head to toe of filth. Now, obviously, in my World Cup roundups, I talk about the Kool-Aids and how they performed, and today, unfortunately, was a bit of a bad day, a hard day at the office for Ousmane Dembele. Obviously, that penalty that he gave away, that's like, it's a soft one, and you can see what Dembele was trying to do, but you can also see exactly what Di Maria was hoping he would do, and he also did that, and unfortunately, that's what gave the penalty away. And to make matters worse for Dembele, he just wasn't able to quite recover his head after giving away that penalty, because he had a few moments where he gave the ball away a bit too cheaply, and putting France under more pressure, and eventually he had to be subbed off in the first half after just like 35 minutes or so. So it wasn't pretty good from him. Jules Koundé fared better by comparison, but like I said, Di Maria was playing like a man possessed, and on that second goal in particular, where I realized a lot of people will probably be pointing the finger at Jules Koundé, but I think it was all started off by Upamecano making a very, very careless giveaway, which led to Argentina really just springing what was a masterful counter-attack, because the moment Messi got that touch and knocked it around for Depau to play McAllister in, like, Jules Koundé has no option but to try and come across to cut off McAllister. Unfortunately for him, he didn't try to, look behind him to see that Di Maria was just in acres of space. And that's what happened. So wasn't too good of a performance here from Koundé, but he did, however, recover, and I think especially after Di Maria came off, he was pretty solid. I don't really know what else to say here, because at the end of the day, like I said, this is really just a story of one man who for years and years now has been trying and trying to reach that pinnacle, to reach that moment where he finally got his hands on a World Cup trophy, and he finally got there and he got to do it. And we all watched it happen. It happened in really the most dramatic of circumstances. I mean, it just had to have been like this, right? Of course, the one time Messi finally wins a World Cup final, it had to be a final that will go down in the books as one of the greatest ever, because it was really a battle, not just between Messi and Mbappe, but between France and Argentina in every sense of the way, especially going down to that penalty shootout, which of course Argentina fancied, but at the end of the day, France fought to get to that. So once again, I say hats off to everyone who was involved in that final, and everyone who's really been involved running this World Cup. Kudos to the referee as well. This was one of the best cold matches I've seen at this tournament, and it's really the good refereeing that gave us this platform for these players to display what they did. So Mateo Laos, I hope you've taken some notes. This is how you let the players shine rather than making yourself the center of attention. Anywho, I'm just about done here. The only thing that's left to be said is probably, it was said best by a certain Peter Drury, so we're going to just sign off with those words from him. Otherwise, from me, guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and Forza Barça.
Argentina, champions of the world, again, at last, and a nation will tango all night long. 26 years since Maradona and Mexico. Here, finally, is a nation's new throng of immortals. Scaloni will be fated. Messi will be sainted. France this time denied, defied. Lionel Messi has conquered his final peak. Lionel Messi has shaken hands with paradise. The little boy from Rosario, Santa Fe, has just pitched up in heaven. He climbs into a galaxy of his own. He has his crowning moments, and of course he is not alone. And one feels for Mbappe, who scored a World Cup final hat-trick and lost. How can that be? Oh. Carlo Montiel, 25 years old, a boy out of River Plate, making his way in Europe, has ensured that this time South America prevails over Europe. And there's Sergio Aguero, Messi's best mate, a one-time prolific scorer for Argentina who couldn't watch, but who turned and embraced the moment, as all in Albi Celeste embraced the moment. The greatest player of his age finally has the greatest accolade football can afford him. At the end of one of the greatest football matches ever played. Oh, wouldn't you want to be where they're going to be tonight? Partygoers in the extreme. The final score in an extraordinary 2022 World Cup final. Argentina 3, France 3, and Argentina winning on penalties by 4-2.